take heart, take heart, take heart. This works out. What looks like your darkest moments have the opportunity to become your finest hour. I mean, it really does, Jay. And it doesn't feel that way. Again, it's caring your kids are, or you're going to find out how spoiled they are, right? And I say that in all sincerity. You're going to find out who people are, and you're also going to find out where your parenting can up a little bit, up the game a little bit. That's okay. There's an opportunity too. But look this thing in the eye and don't let it defeat you. Don't let it own you. Don't panic, right? Be smart, be cautious. Make sure that you personally, health-wise, survive, and make sure that you've taken the steps for your business and your personal life to survive. And then so now start planting the seeds to thrive. Like I said, dude, I went
All right, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Who was on the Gary call?
Ideas here.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Who was on the Gary call?
I was.
All right. Let's do a minute or two of what you thought. What did you learn? Give me some positive stuff. You laughing at me, Pam?
Yes, I am.
Pam and I were texting during the speech. All right, give me one thing you liked.
Well, it was a few things that I liked, but the one thing that stood out was like he said, now's not the time for it to be a vacation. If you have to, bring kids in there and give them a job. I don't know if the kids would like the job, but
well, that's there are parts of the job you don't even like.
Yeah.
So see, ask them what they like doing. Would you prefer to generate leads by the telephone or by texting or by knocking doors? Which one would you prefer? Right?
Yeah.
All right, I got a little advice from somebody earlier about making sure I could be heard better and it was lighter. How am I doing?
Doing good.
Am I better able to be heard?
I can hear you. I heard you perfect earlier.
Okay.
It is better. The lighting and the angle on your face, etc., is better.
Good. Okay. And I didn't even buy anything to fix it. So let me share with you a couple things I took from the call. Number one is I believe I have recorded the message, the session earlier. I just haven't figured out how to upload it yet. So hang tight on that. And the one of the other issues that we may have today, I'm not sure, is, long story short, but I have 2 Zoom accounts and I didn't realize that. So I upgraded the one that I'm not using, that I created all the links from. So if we get cut off after 40 minutes, I'm just going to send everyone a new link immediately through the WhatsApp group, and we can just hop right back on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. We should be able to, as soon, you can't get a hold of anyone for a little issue like this at Zoom. So hang tight. We'll figure it out together. All right, I got a couple of really cool ideas from that class. From that session. One of which is, this is not the end. It is just the beginning of something else. I think that's a cool outlook. Like, what else are we going to do? Are we going to go get a job at some firm? No one's going to be hiring right now. Like, this is what we've decided to do, and we just have to go out and do the work. Right. We also learned that the people that are the most accountable are the most productive. Did you hear that?
Yes.
All right. Was anyone on Seth Campbell's call at 10? It's
No.
okay if you weren't. I got a cool piece of news for you. Were you on the call?
I was not.
I was
okay.
not.
All right. So one of the questions that Seth asked the people on the call were, go into your local MLS and find out how many homes have been listed in the last couple of days and how many homes have gone under contract in the last couple of days. And that will serve as proof of whether there's activity in the marketplace, right? Okay. And let's say there was 2 new listings and nothing went under contract in the last 3 days. Okay, coronavirus is having a massive, massive impact on the marketplace. That's actually not the case in Metro Atlanta. So let me share with you a couple statistics. Okay, in the last 7 days, in FMLS, all areas, just residential though, condos and townhomes and single family homes, there have been 2,591 new listings and 2,400 properties have gone under contract. So do you think that's a lack of activity? Do you think people are freaking out and staying at home? Doesn't seem like it, right? There's still sellers that want to sell. There's still buyers that want to buy, right? In the last 3 days, there's been 954 new listings, and 956 listings have gone under contract. So we're actually, the inventory is actually lowering. I know it's only by 2, but the inventory is actually shrinking in the last 3 days, right? There are more buyers out there than new listings. And in the last 24 hours, there's 202 people that have listed their home throughout Metro Atlanta, and 262 properties have gone under contract.
Wow.
So knowing those statistics, do you think that there is opportunity out there?
Yeah.
I agree. Anyone have any thoughts on that? Or is that surprising to anybody?
It's not surprising to me, not right now. I could see if it wasn't so active within a couple of days, depending on how worse this may get. But right now, it's still so at the beginning. It's not really that surprising to me.
Well, I'm going to start watching these numbers and seeing kind of what do they typically change by the day of the week? Do they typically change by the week to week? If if there's a new major thing going on with coronavirus or something that's really, really good news or something, are these affected? But from my takeaway from this is that there's a major uncharted water situation going on, but there are still buyers out there and there are still sellers out there.
Right.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Anything else we want to chat on?
Mm-mm.
All right. One other thing I got from that call, just before we move on to the 135 stuff, is just asking that deeper question. What is it that specifically concerns you about having an open house or not having an open house or meeting to look at property? Is it that we would be within a couple feet of each other? Is it that you don't want to go into a stranger's home? You don't want to be pushy, but we can be pretty creative about how we get people to see what we want them to see, right? You could go and give them a tour of the exterior of the property. You could give them a tour of the neighborhood. You could give them a tour of the inside of the property. And that may be able to give them the confidence they need to move forward, right? Just push back a tiny bit, just get a little bit more information about what they're concerned about, and that will help everyone involved have more clarity. Does that make sense, everyone?
Makes sense.
Okay. All right. Let's get a quick show of hands on the people that have 135s in place for their business right now. Is everyone looking for the hand icon, or is that nobody?
I take it to mean nobody.
Oh, Pam, I love you. You're so direct. Okay. There is a Stacy on the call. I just want to make sure I know who that is. Who is the Stacy that is joining us? Hello?
Last name is Forrest.
Oh, Stacy Horst. Hey, how are you? Are you typing? I don't. Ah, there we go. Good. Don't have audio. Welcome, Stacy. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully we can get a chance to chat soon. Okay. No one has a 135. Does everyone understand? Does everyone agree that the more of a plan you have, the more successful you'll be?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. The 135, or what's called the GPS, goals, priorities, and strategies, is a great planning tool for basically any goal that you have. It doesn't have to be business related. It could be personal. It could be something like, I want to, let's say, buy an investment property this year, or I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to earn $100,000. Whatever the goal is, the fact is that if you have a plan to achieve that goal and you know what the priorities you need to take action on each day or each week or each month, then there's an incredibly high likelihood that you will hit the goal. So as long as there's actually a connection between the inputs and the outputs, right? That, there's a connection between, let's say, exercising and losing weight, or making telephone calls and booking appointments, and that there's some accountability, right? That you're looking at it enough, often enough to make sure that you're doing the proper stuff every day, first of all. And secondly, that that you might have some help, right? You might have an accountability partner. Most everyone was on the call earlier, but Stacy, one of the things that I'm recommending, even if you never engage with the productivity program, is I think that you will have a lot more success in doing the activities that you need to do each day if you have somebody that can hold you accountable. Okay, no matter what that means, if that is somebody to check in on once a week or once a day or once a month, whatever it may be, the more accountability that you have, the more productive that you'll be. And that's something that Gary said just a couple minutes ago. Hang on one second. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the 135 for business. So for everyone that has a binder that's part of the program, I've given you guys a productivity or a blank 135, as well as a excuse me, a blank 135 and a filled out one for both for a new agent. Has anyone got like a draft of a 135? Have you kind of thought through what that goal might be, or what the priorities and strategies would be? We can work on one together now. Does anyone want to do one live right now? Does anyone have a goal? Is this thing on?
It's on.
Okay, who wants to create one of these things? Kim, I see you laughing.
My internet's being wonky. I don't know if it's overwhelmed or what.
Okay. Should I pick one person right now to create a 135? If you do it with me right now, you won't have any homework.
Go for it.
All right. Who just volunteered?
That's Idea.
All right, Sadia. Great. We're all going to get used to sharing with each other. So I'm going to assume that let's pick a business goal that you're not afraid to share. You want to do that?
A business goal that I'm not afraid to share?
Yeah, let's say for your business this year, what would have to take place for you in 1 year to say, oh my gosh, this year has just been phenomenal?
I would, by this time next year, to have at least 5 houses under my belt.
5 closings?
Yep.
Okay. Now, do you have an income tied to that?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
I don't.
So let's push it just a little further. So you've been in a couple of the workshops. What do you think the average sales price that you will be working with? When you work with a buyer, when you work with a seller, how much do you think they'll be buying and selling for, roughly?
I'm going to say probably roughly around $350.
$350. Okay. I think that's reasonable. That's right around what our average cost in Roswell is. Okay. So let's say, for example, $350 times 3% is what?
Oh,
it's about 11,500. Is that correct?
A minute, let me do my math.
Everyone should know 3% of every number, I thought, right?
What you got?
$10,500.
Okay.
Okay. So let's walk through this. Every time that you help a buyer buy or a seller sell, you will make $10,500. You'll bring that check back to the office, and you'll pay for a couple of relationships, the relationship with me, the relationship with the office, KWRI, etc. And you will see what's left, right? So let's just say, for example, you're going to gross around $60,000.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be the goal. So we have one goal, we have 3 priorities, and we have 5
Mhm.
strategies. And each of the priorities has 5 strategies. Okay. So the one goal in business you generally see is income related. We could also do it unit related, number of homes. We could do it 5 homes or something. Either one works. So it would either be 5 homes sold and $60,000 in income. Fair?
Okay, I
So
got
that's your big goal. All right,
Okay.
so let's do some brainstorming and talk a little bit about the priorities involved. So in order for you to sit at 5 closing tables with either buyers or sellers, some things are going to have to happen first, right?
Yes.
What are those things?
Well, the main thing is my lead gen. I have to get more lead gen done per day.
Okay.
And right now I don't get a whole lot of it, but I have to focus more on my lead gen.
Okay.
That's the most main thing, I think.
All right. So in addition to lead gen, what else?
Getting a listing.
Okay. So lead gen, listings, what else?
Actual conversations with potential buyers and sellers,
Okay.
not just
Okay.
dialing the phone.
I like that. One sec, guys. Okay, I agree. So we have conversations, we have lead gen, and we have listings. Okay. What else? There's
Well,
one I haven't heard that I should definitely hear.
They should have to actually get to closing.
Yep. So we need some closings. What else?
Appointment set.
Good. Okay. Now, so we're going to have some appointments. This goes back to the economic model that we were working on the other day, and we're going to be really kind of brief about how we're going to calculate this. But generally speaking, what we find, and I'll be a little bit more conservative because Sadaya, you're new. But let's say that in order for you to have 5 closings, you're going to have to sit down with 12 people during the year.
Okay.
So you have 12 face-to-face appointments with a ready, willing, and able buyer or seller. There's a portion of those 12 that will agree to work with you exclusively. There's another slightly smaller number of people that will go under contract. And there's a slightly smaller number of people that will close. Okay. So you're going to have 12 appointments throughout the entire year. So if I were to come to you and say, hey, I got a possible job for you, you got to go on 1 appointment per month. And at the end of the year, I'll hand you 60 grand.
Oh my. Okay.
Pretty much all of us would take that gig, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree. So now we have to figure out how in the world are we going to get those 12 appointments?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, where are they going to come from? Are they going to be buyers? Are they going to be sellers? Are they going to be our friends? Are they going to be strangers? Where are we going to find them? How are we going to court them? How are we going to keep up with them? How are we going to execute on the promises we make to them, etc.? The way that I would generally do the 1-3-5, this is, I'll kind of jump forward a tiny bit, is in the past I've done it 2 ways. One is leads, listings, leverage, right?
Okay.
So the first priority is leads. Where are the leads going to come from? What activities am I going to do to generate leads?
Okay.
Okay. The second one would be listings. So what systems am I going to put in place to target specifically sellers? Okay. And thirdly is leverage. So what systems am I going to use to create the leverage that I need to create in order to do these activities? So that leverage, for example, might be, how am I going to use command? Right?
Okay.
Am I going to host, am I going to have a contract to close person? Am I going to hire a virtual assistant? Right? You don't necessarily have to have 5 strategies under each priority. But for example, if we did leads, listings, leverage, let's come back to that in a second. I'll tell you the other one. The other one I did was appointments, database, and development. So what I meant by that is if I'm going to sell 5 homes this year, then I need to book some appointments. So I got to figure out how to do that. So that's going to be a combination of basically working on my skills. That's going to be a combination of generating the leads. Okay. And that's going to be a combination of learning my presentations. Okay. The next thing would be database, which is where am I going to find all these people? Am I going to do stuff on command? Am I going to go to networking events? Am I going to be in touch with my friends and family? Am I going to do some cold calling? What are we doing? And then finally, what type of personal development am I going to do? So for example, do I need to change any personal habits in order to have the energy and or the time or the appropriate mindset to go do the others? Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So do you have a leaning on, should we break it up into appointments, database, and personal development, or should we break it up into leads, listings, and leverage?
Leads, listings, and leverage.
Okay, cool. Okay, so we're going to focus on first, what is the lead strategy, or what are the lead strategies that we can choose from in order to get leads? Now, this is going to also be a kind of a combination of database. So even though we're saying leads, this is essentially where we would talk about how do we find people to add to our database. So I'm going to ask you to pick five ways, right, that we can execute on in order to grow our database and to grow the number of leads that we have.
Okay, well, my first one would be
Anybody can chime in, by the way. Anybody can chime in. Let's all help her.
would be open houses and
Okay.
door knocking.
Okay.
I know the cold calling and everything needs to be done. I hate it, and I'm just being honest. I hate to do the calling.
How many times have you ever done it?
I've done it quite a bit of times. I've done it quite a bit. I don't like it.
All right, so let's stick to the stuff you do
It's
like.
something I got to get out of. I know that.
But-
But the door knocking, I
Maybe.
don't mind at all.
Maybe.
And
I've just so you know, I've probably called in my 15 years, outside of calling recruits and that kind of thing, but I have probably called, if you added up all the expired listings and all the FSBOs I've called, it's probably less than 50 in 15 years. And I was able to build a sustainable business outside of that. So there's no reason to believe you absolutely have to do a certain lead generation type if you are
Okay.
unwilling or unable or stubborn or whatever word you want to call it. The fact is let's double down on the things you do like. So if you love open houses, let's do a couple of them a week.
Okay.
Right? Nothing's stopping you from doing a Thursday night open house or a Saturday morning open house and a Saturday late afternoon open house, or a
No.
Sunday early morning open house and a Sunday late afternoon open house. Nothing's stopping you from anything.
No.
Okay. So open houses, door knocking, what else?
Just random bumping into people.
Okay.
Right.
So let's say that that's going to lead to contacts because we want to have a strategy around bumping into people, right?
Okay.
If you want to bump into people, are you going to go to, like, how do you know you're executing on that when you bump into
Well,
X number of people?
The way
per
I
day?
do it, the way I do it, like for instance, this Saturday, it is I do diaper cakes on the side. So when I get orders, a lot of times it present conversation, and that would be my target way of doing it. As far as knowing that I would be able to bump into somebody. Like I said, I had a diaper cake that I had to drop off this Saturday. the only thing with that is everybody was occupied at the time because they were still trying to get the establishment together.
Okay.
You
So
know,
how do you get leads for the diaper making or the diaper cake business?
that started so long ago, Bill. Right now it's through word of mouth.
Okay.
When
Do
I
you
do
foresee
wanna leave
a time where your real estate business could be the same?
Yes, if not more, yes.
Good answer. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to think through who gets diaper cakes,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who orders them, who receives them, and who's present when they were received,
Okay.
right? So you might think of a strat. I mean, by the way, diaper cakes are a huge indicator of people. What is the statistic? Pam just had to hop off for a second, but I think the statistic is something like if you, it's something like 70% of people that have a child will move within a year. It's something crazy like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So you can just look them right in the face and say, "Hey, statistics. I'm a realtor as well. That's my full-time job, and I just want to let you know that I'd love an opportunity to be a resource for you. Should you have any questions? We know that a lot of people that get into or that have babies have a need to move soon, or might have some questions about the market. I just love an opportunity to connect you. By the way, we have this awesome consumer app. Give me your phone, I'll download it for you. Right. So we want to think about strategies to connect the network that you're already finding yourself a part of.
Okay.
To your new goals of building a real estate business. Okay. So we're going to initiate a bunch of contacts. I like that. What else?
I don't know what
All right.
else.
Anyone can shout out. What else? We've lost a couple people, it looks like. Okay, so what about
I'm still here. I had to switch over. My iPad was not letting me speak, or I don't know, it kept muting the audio. But I think that's a great opportunity what she's doing, because she is going to have obviously new families starting. They're always usually generally looking to change locations, whether they're renting, they're becoming first-time buyers, or they're upsizing. I think it's great. So reaching out to everybody that she has done cakes for in the past.
Yeah.
Start texting them, start, calling them, That's awesome.
And
Yeah,
that's kind of what I did with the 31 with basically with what Melba had us do in Ignite, and the people in my contacts. So a lot of those people were even people that I did cakes for. So I've already gone through those. I've sent out my notes form and everything. And then the 2 extra ones that I had was when I was picking up items to make this diaper cake, I ran into 2 ladies at Walmart, and they had an interest for the diaper cakes and thought that that was my main job. And I told them, well, no, I'm a realtor. This is my side gig. And that's how I caught their interest and exchanged information like that from them. So far is starting to help. I just got to get out there more. I got to hit the gym more, and be out in the scene more, to whereas that I can run into these people and start the conversations and things of that nature.
Cool. So I would think of a couple things, which are what you could do is like where else do people that might be interested in diaper cake hang out?
Mm-hmm. Man, some are everywhere.
Well, you might find them in like a like a maternity store.
That's true. Yeah.
Or you might find them in like a it could be a lot of different things. It could be like a little daycare center or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
Because what you want to do is get around a bunch of basically young women. Right?
Okay.
Like where do people
if she ever wants to come hang out with me at Lifetime Fitness, they have this huge kid zone there, and all of the morning classes are filled with moms with little babies. I'm usually one of the older ones there myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
Oh,
their
that's
first baby.
cool,
It could be
yeah.
their second or third baby.
Oh, that's
right.
And you just want a chance to, it could be something like, 10% off diaper cake or,
Yeah.
and then that could be your lead into, oh, so, hey, what part of town do you live in? Oh, I live in Marietta. Awesome. How long have you lived there? 3 years. Oh my gosh, is this your first child, or do you have any other children? Oh, this is my fourth child. Or our house is too small. Interesting. I haven't, I'm the vast majority of my time is spent, helping buyers buy and sellers sell. Do you have any
Okay.
questions I can answer for you right now? By the way, we have this new consumer app. Can I get it into your hands? Who's the
Gotcha.
real estate agent that you trust when you have questions? I ain't got one. Well, now you do. Hello.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so we're gonna initiate contacts normally, right? We're gonna have contacts normally, and we're gonna have some strategy around the diaper cake business. What else? Other than open houses and door knocking, what are you willing to do?
Hey, Bill, you know what? One thing before you move on, I thought it was, it just made me remember about what you said before about having something to offer them. I think that's great for her because, there's a trade-off there. So, you actually have something to offer them that's going to be of value.
100%.
Great.
You guys
Yeah.
should milk this app like you've never milked anything.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. So how else can we add people? Where else might we find people that you could find leads from? Would you be willing to, let's say, do an hour or two of volunteering a week?
Sure.
Is that something that speaks to you?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, I've actually signed up once again for the Family Readiness Group at the facility where my husband works at for the military people. Is a program where we assist them with family needs and things of that nature, and they need someone to lead that. So I've done it in a couple of other states. They don't have anyone doing it here. They need someone to do it. So I just volunteered to do that. I'm working on getting the literature now. Once I got that literature, it'll open up the door for me to be able to speak to a lot of these military young people that don't understand that you can buy a house, right now, in opposed to just living on post or on base and things of that nature. A lot of them don't know that, so.
Exactly. And with a VA loan, you don't have to have any down payment money.
Exactly. So that's the one volunteer I have already put my, I've got started right now. I'm just
Cool.
waiting on information to know when they need me to start.
Awesome. Tell me about things that you might be able to do to generate listings. Anything specific that we can do to generate listings?
I don't know. Can you give me an idea?
Kim, you have any ideas?
Because in order to generate listings, you got to first come into contact with the people, right? Like,
Well, of course, yeah.
like everything that we just spoke of. So I got to get to that point.
So some of those would be duplicated. I agree.
Uh-huh.
How would we, but for example, let's say you went and had a campaign to go speak to a bunch of renters. Like that would be more likely to generate some buyer leads. How do we generate some seller leads?
Some seller leads. I understand what you're saying. Hi. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I don't know.
Okay. So for me, this is, what's happened is it's been a challenge generating listings and buyer leads, truthfully. But when I did my activity sheet this weekend, I saw that I'm really not putting in enough time into my database. So for me, I just went through my husband's client list this week, and I saw all of these older people that are about to retire. Okay. And usually with retirement comes a move or some kind of home change because they've been there forever. So I just kind of started reaching out to those people this weekend for that. And then, I had to change my mindset a little bit too this weekend, because truthfully, when I had to do that sheet to submit to Bill on on Sunday about
Yes.
product activity,
Yes.
I was really kind of like a smack in my face. And I was like, okay, what am I missing here? And so I changed my mindset. And when I was looking at who do I know, I went through my database and I was like, well, a lot of these people I already reached out to that know that I'm in real estate. But then I said, wait a minute. Okay, I'm only looking at clients in my database from our other business, but what we do have is a business that's full of insurance agents. And I didn't even think to reach out to them. So I
Wow.
went back to from years, like all the way back to like when we started on our own in 2010. And I just started pulling all the contracts that I wrote for agents. And so I've just been touching base with them, and it's a lot. Like not all of them are in this state, but like I have like about 200 people to talk to now that
Wow,
I did.
that's good.
That was just sitting there that I didn't know. And of course, not all of them are going to be responsive.
But-
And some of them are just going to be referrals because they're in other states, if that even works. But
Right.
it was just the mindset change of where am I going to find these people? And then, yeah. And it all came about because I had to submit that productivity sheet, and I realized how little I was putting into the business.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the point, right? It's okay. First of all, it's okay to put down a 0, but I appreciate you, because that leads to awareness. What I appreciate most is that you basically figured you were about to put down a 0, or we're going to have to put down a 0 in 3 days, and instead you went and thought of some different ways to find some new opportunities. So good for you, Kim. I think from a listing standpoint, a lot of this stuff it's going to be kind of similar, right? You could door knock specific areas that you want to do business, right?
Okay. But
So, and you have like some type of piece of value, right? Let's say you want to door knock a big neighborhood that's got a few hundred houses in it, and you want to have something on there that says, I mean, it could be just about anything. It could be, interest rates are lower than they've ever been. Now might be a perfect time to, purchase a move-up property or to refinance. And by the way, here's the last couple of months worth of sales activity. Homes are selling, in a week for 99.5% of list price. Call me today to see if now could be, if you have any questions, or to see if now could be a good time to move up, something of that nature. Got
Okay.
a little call to action. You knock on the door, you introduce yourself, you hand it to them, or they're not there, you put it on their doorstep, and that's that.
okay.
Make sense? Okay. So we can be selective in where we look for those types of opportunities. What about any type of networking groups? Another thing you could do is going on to the referral part of Command and friending a ton of people in random places.
Okay.
Saying,
I've already done that.
okay.
I've already done that. That's how I was able to link up with the one agent that I referred to the young lady in Michigan.
Good. So you saw it worked. You can even check in with them and say, hey, any cool strategies you're using to generate new business with the coronavirus going on? Right.
Okay.
Don't forget to, those are relationships. Those are essentially people in your database.
Right.
Right. So you can work your referral network. Right.
Okay.
What other lead generation strategies? So let's go to the obvious ones, which are the presentation, right? The listing presentation.
The listing presentation, but even with that, and I'm understanding what you're saying. I'm sorry, I'm understanding what you're saying with the listing presentation and that stuff, but you still gotta get the person first. And that's
so we just itemized 5 or 6 different ways we're going to get them.
Okay.
And now you're going to work those hard.
Right.
And then you're going to, for the purpose of generating some appointments. And
Right.
then once you go on the appointments, you're going to have to do some other stuff that is based around listings, like, putting them on a touch program, having a pre-list package, knowing the
Mhm.
questions that you've got to ask them, being
Okay.
familiar with the objections and the presentation, right? So now we're working on some skill-based things.
Okay.
Okay, so you could have a pre-list package. You could have a presentation practice, pre-list package. You could have a touch campaign. You could do some command ads around listings, right? You could do something that says like, hey, listings needed, and do those campaigns around certain areas that you want to work. And you can
Okay.
get with Sam or Lanza on how to do those on Facebook. That are things like, wanted home that fits, for this family. We got a lovely family that's looking for a 4-bedroom home, priced up to $350,000. They're looking for a fenced backyard. Do you know of anyone that might be interested in a home like this, or have a home like this that they might be interested in selling?
Okay.
And what you're going to end up getting is people that call and say, well, I have a 3-bedroom home. Would that be okay? Or I don't have a fence, but I got a nice flat backyard. Would that be okay? Oh, okay. So maybe it's not a fit for my particular buyer, but by the way, who's the real estate agent that you call when you have a question? Or would you be open to me coming over and getting to know you and seeing the property?
And that's through command ads?
Yeah. So another thing you could do is use the data that we have from Cole on Circle Prospecting to just have a lot of conversations, right? I feel like if the more conversations you had, the more comfortable you'd be on the phone with these folks.
Okay.
So I would do some campaigns where you are generating some interest. It could be like, I got wanted buyer or wanted listing ads, something of that nature. And then leverage, that goes into, I think, creating your touch program.
Okay.
And I also think that goes into,
That's leverage.
you probably don't need if you're only doing 5 or 6 units a year, I don't think you're probably ready for an assistant or maybe even a contract to close person. But I think that if I can be really direct with you, I think that's relatively low goal and you could accomplish a lot more than that.
Okay. All right.
If you don't mind me being blunt.
No,
like that.
I that's what I need. I need for you to be direct and tell me honestly.
Yeah.
That's what I need. That's it. That's why
I think you can accomplish more than that.
Okay.
Okay. And the more conversations you have and the more involved with the volunteer program you are, and the more door knocking you do and the more open houses you host, that is going to create more stuff, more chaos, and that's going to lead to more appointments and more contracts. Okay. The other piece you could do for leverage is to have some form of let's see. Hang on, let me think about that for a second. Kim, any thoughts?
Bill, yeah, I just had a question for you because I really need to work on my listing presentation.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, what do you think is the best way to go about that? And initially, because I need
like what presentation to use?
Yes, to study the. Yes,
I like the bold listing presentation. Are you familiar with that at all?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So I will upload some presentations into the Google Drive. So if you look through the script books, there's a lot of stuff on there, but I tend to like the bold one, so I'll share that with you.
Okay. I think Alexandra just sent a note through the chat, I thought. Did she send it?
Yeah, I just saw it.
I don't see any more chats.
Oh, maybe she sent it to the WhatsApp. Sorry.
The WhatsApp, that's what.
Oh,
She's trying to figure out how she can view the number for buyers and sellers in the market.
Okay, hang on. How can yeah. Okay. And I'm jotting down a bunch of things that we can kind of ideas to have classes on and that kind of stuff as well. Okay, so what I want the takeaway to be here is that let's just say we're gonna just have that one thing under leverage just to keep it moving. If you guys hang on 1 second, let me go plug in my thingy, okay?
Okay.
hey, Sadia, how's everything going?
You know what? So far, so good. The little trip going to Phoenix that we were supposed to take on the 23rd has been postponed for right now
Okay.
due
All
to
right.
the way things
Can
are.
everyone see me? Hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes.
Okay. What we want to do here, if we go back to the lead section, what we're going to see is open houses. So like the more we can add metrics to this, the better. So let's say we're willing to do, what if we're willing to do 3 open houses a week?
Mm-hmm.
I want to create a lot of chaos for you. Okay.
Okay.
So we can get the ball rolling and you can make some money. So let's say we do 3 of those a week.
Okay.
Okay. How many doors are you willing to knock per week?
How many doors or how many hours?
Let's do doors.
Okay. Oh, gosh. If I can at least get 100 doors per week, which means that.
Now those might be connected to the open houses, right? So if you're going to do an open house on,
in order to let them know that the open house is going on. Exactly.
right.
But I want to, if I can take, so 5, that would be 20.
20 a week?
No, 100 a week, meaning at least 20 per day.
Okay, so 100 a week. All right. Contacts. How many conversations about real estate do you think you can have per week? By the way, those would include the doors if the people are home.
And this is different than people that I've already had the conversation with, correct?
You mean the ones you've already had?
Spheres, yes.
No, these would be new people.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Within a week's time, I would have to say around between 20, 30 people.
A week?
I mean, if I'm doing an open house, if I'm doing 3 open houses in a week and I'm doing door knocking, I'm coming into contact with those people, right? Or are you saying where is that I get the information and I can actually put it into my database?
Well, some of those are going to be people that you meet from the open houses. Some
Right.
of those people are going to be people that you have a 2-way conversation with when you're standing at their door.
Exactly.
Some of those people are going to be people that you might be calling by phone. Or
so what would be realistic?
Maybe 75 a week, something like that.
Really? That much more? Okay. So
if you go knock on 100 doors, you're probably going to speak to 20 people.
Yeah, but speaking to them is one thing, but actually being able to get information, whereas that they'll at least give me an email address.
No, that would be a different category of, like, let's say database ads.
Okay.
conversations might just be somebody at the store that
Okay.
you make a conversation with,
Okay.
or somebody that you talk about at one of your volunteering events.
Right.
Now, hopefully you'll get contact information from as many of those people as possible, but
Mm-hmm.
right, the goal would be to the goal would be to get as much contact information as possible. But if you're not able to, it's still a conversation, right? You still said, hey, would you like to use my app? And they're like, no, I already have a real estate agent. I don't want your damn app.
Right.
That counts.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So the point is, I want you to add some metrics to it. So the
Okay.
more metrics you can have, the better. So let's just say, for example, like in Bold, we do 20 contacts a day. So whatever it takes, you got to go find 20 people to talk to every day
Right.
about real estate. I don't care if it's at the store. I don't care if it's a direct message. I don't care if it's checking in on your friends and family, whatever it may be. So even if we cut that in half, let's say you're going to do 50 a week. Okay. How many diaper cakes do you deliver a week?
I don't deliver those a week. Since we've moved here, I've had my first one, and hopefully if things pick up, it will be between 2 or 3 a month.
2 or 3 a month. Okay.
Mhm.
And what about volunteering? You're trying to figure out kind of what the pace is on that, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting on information to come back from the lieutenant colonel on that.
Okay. Referral network. How many people can you have how many, and these would count, by the way. So if you're having a back and forth with somebody in, I don't know, let's say Chicago, about them being a real estate agent in Chicago and you being a real estate agent here, how many of those people could you add to your network each week?
Oh, wow. I can add at least maybe 10 people
10 a week?
at work a week from
Okay.
the referrals. Yeah.
Cool. How many listing, or how many ads can you post each week, basically stating that you have a buyer that is looking for a particular house, and you can do a command add-on?
I don't know how to answer that right now, Bill, because I have yet to do it.
Okay, so would you be willing to call Sam?
Yeah, Sam, you said Sam or
Lanza.
Lanza.
Yeah. So I want you to put it on your calendar this week that you're going to
Uh-huh.
book an appointment with them virtually if necessary to learn how to do that.
Okay.
Okay. When you learn how to do it, you'll see how easy it is, and you'll see how productive it can be. And then you'll be willing to post a certain number of ads per week or per month. And you'll be willing to spend a certain amount of money. Even if you spend, I don't know, let's say $10 a week or something, you can get some good traction from that.
Okay.
Okay. And then you want to put let's say a deadline on the touch campaigns. The goal here is to take everything that you're willing to do and to break it down into sizable chunks. So if my goal is to have 12 appointments a year, I need to have one a month, right? And so that we're going to translate that onto our 411, which we're going to start in just a second. Does it make sense?
It does. Before you go further, what's the best way for me to pull up information on Sam or Lanza?
Leanza, it's on our calendar. You can look at our calendar.
Okay, on our calendar. Okay.
Yeah. Or you can find them through Kelly.
Okay. Got it.
Hey, Bill, the 135, is that this sheet right here with the circles?
No.
Or is that this one with the daily?
That's neither of those. The 135 is
Isn't it this?
yes, exactly.
Oh, got it. Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're
Exactly.
welcome.
So if you look at the one that's in the
binder,
it looks like, hang on just a second. I'm going to share my screen with you.
I think I took it upstairs to my office to copy it. That's what happened to it. Okay.
All right. Oh, here we go. Okay, can you guys see? Just a second. Do you see it's on the very front page of the binder that says like, I want to launch my real estate career through referrals and sphere of influence and close blank units by blank.
Yep.
So I'm going to build my database, and those are the 5 ways I'm going to build my database. I'm going to feed my database, and those are the 5 ways I'm going to feed my database. And then I'm going to systematically touch my database, and those are the 5 ways I'm going to do that. You see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's basically what we were building, but the one thing goal for that year was 12 units or $60,000. No, I'm sorry, 5 units, 12 appointments. So the idea is we want to, if we were to take everything on this GPS, we want to translate that into a accountability page called the 4-on-1. Does everyone follow that?
Yes.
Okay, the 4-on-1 is this sheet. All right, I'm going to sign off of this one, sign off of this chat, and then reopen the chat for the 4-on-1. You guys just hop on that different link, okay, in case there's anyone else waiting for that one. All right?
Okay.
This is Bill. I'm good. How are you? Yes, I meant to.